Welcome to the Billionaire Journey Podcast. My name is Shola Matthew, and you're welcome to this awesome episode. Today, we want to share with you 5 powerful books on wealth creation. And I hope that you're going to love these books. These are the books that I have read, and these are the books that a lot of billionaires have, recommended over a period of time. Before we go on into this episode, I want to encourage you to go and join our newsletter, right? That is where we share the things that we don't share in public. And you can do that by going to thebillionairejourney.com, thebillionairejourney.com. And then you just put in your name and email, and we're going to be reaching out to you. By the way, when you subscribe, you're going to get 2 amazing gifts from us at the Billionaire Journey Podcast. And I hope you go do that right now. Thank you. So, here are the 5 powerful books on wealth creation. Number 1, As a Man Thinketh. When we started this podcast, one of the things that we decided to do is actually to reorientate our mindset, because so many people are like, oh, billionaire? There's somebody that read about this podcast, and I think I shared about this podcast somewhere, and then the person was like, what is your podcast about? And I said, it helps you journey from zillionaire to billionaire. And she was like, wow, I'm not ready for that. And it's just a mindset thing. She isn't ready. Yeah, I think it's true, because our mindset is not yet ready. So many people think that for you to become a billionaire, you have to have billions of money in your bank. It doesn't start like that. It starts with programming your mind, seeing the impossible. Like, when Abraham in the olden days, when God told him that, hey guy, how far can you see? It's as far as he could see that he was able to achieve. And it is just the right thing to do, because the way you think is actually determining what you will become, right? So, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, it's our first book in wealth creation, and it deals with mindset and a whole lot of stuff, right? So, and it's not a very big book like that. It's not a voluminous book with several pages. It's a book that you can read in a day. I've read this book, I think, about 7 times now, and I will still read it again, because it moves you from where you are to where you should be. So that is basically what the book is about, and you're really going to enjoy it. The second book here is The Jewish Phenomenon by Steven Silbiger, right? Steven Silbiger. So this book chronicles the the principles of wealth by the Jewish people. And to be honest with you, it talks about a whole lot of things, like frugality, like why the Jewish are among the top richest people in the world, and so on and so forth. What principles they actually practice. And so there's also something that I learned in the book that talked about transportable skills. You need to go read that book. It's a very, very powerful book on wealth creation, right? And the third book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, if you go meet any rich person today, they must have read Think and Grow Rich. Do you know that there's power in your thoughts? It's just like As a Man Thinketh that we mentioned earlier by James Allen. Think and Grow Rich is also very, very powerful. It teaches you to think and grow rich. Basically, that's what it's about. And, there are some people who read just the first chapter and they got the idea of what is in the book, and they went ahead to create lasting wealth. And there are also other people who read everything. But most importantly, when you're reading book, you don't just read a book once and just leave it. You need to read it as many times as possible. Think and Grow Rich, shows you that there is a power in idea, right? That tiny idea that you might neglect might be what will become the product that will create your lasting wealth for you. So Think and Grow Rich is a book that we recommend at the Billionaire Journey Podcast. Number 4 is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Especially for people who are just starting out, it's good that you read this book. And not just people who are starting out, try to give this book to your children as well, and also read it as an individual. There's several things that we were not taught while we're in school, like financial education. When we really taught, right? So this book teaches you that. It teaches you what the rich and the wealthy teach their children that the middle class and poor people don't actually teach their children. For example, there's a difference between asset and liabilities, and there's a difference between investing and saving, and so much more. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a book that you should read. The last but not the least is The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Wow, this is also a powerful book, especially for beginners, right? It teaches you, principles that you need to create wealth. For example, it talks about savings. Several people save to spend later, but The Richest Man in Babylon will teach you that you don't just save to spend, you also save to invest, right? It's a very, very powerful book that actually talks, it teaches you in the form of a story. And these are books that we recommend at the Billionaire Journey Podcast. So here are the 5 powerful books on wealth creation. Again, number 1, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Number 2, The Jewish Phenomenon by Stephen Sibilga. Number 3, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Number 4, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And the last but not the least, number 5 is The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Have you read any of those books before? Let us know, by sharing on social media using the Billionaire Journey Podcast. The hashtag the Billionaire Journey Podcast. And you can also tag me on different social media platforms, Shola Matthew, and we'll look forward to hearing from you. And if you haven't read any of this book, which one do you think you're going to read? Let us know. Thank you very much. Before I go, I want to tell you to subscribe to our newsletter, the Billionaire Journey Podcast.com. Go to the Billionaire Journey Podcast.com and do well to share this podcast with your friends. Look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.